Hello everyone, I'm going to show you today how to wire up an amp and sub into your Chevy Colorado. I have a 2020, I believe it's 2015 to 2022. Should be exact same, so let's get into it. Okay, so in mine, I already have this little plastic panel piece, the storage piece taken out. And so if you want to do a normal subwoofer setup like this, or there's a single setup that you can buy that'll sit down inside the plastic little storage area. Whichever you choose, if you want to do the route that I got the specific sort of wedge type subwoofer box. So what I had to do is I have to rip out all that stuff. There's probably a video about it. It's pretty self-explanatory, but the thing is once you take it out, you're probably not going to put it back in because you're going to have a box like this big. So you have these two bolts left and right side that hold down the bracing for that plastic there. So it's a big star bolt pattern. I'm not exactly sure what the size it is. So that's the first step of the process there. If you are taking it out. So for the size of box that I got, I will find it and I'll put it down. I'll screenshot it right here. That way you guys can see it, and I'll put the link in the description if I can find it. So how I routed my power is I have the top post run into here, and I have this power cable that came with the kit that I bought for my subwoofer and all the wiring and everything. So I just tapped into this power. You can tap into this one or any of these if you really want to, but I felt it was easier for me to tap into this because you do have this plastic covering right here. And so I routed it. If you guys could see this blue cable back there, there's a little rubber grommet, and you have all your wiring harness back there. So I'll run through it again in case you guys missed it. Power cable coming back through here. I ran it behind the brake booster and everything there. And then behind there, the rubber grommet right through there. So I just cut a tiny slit through there and I can run it all the way into the cab. So where that rubber grommet is, it's coming right through that firewall. Ran it just so it's out of the way, essentially. And so it's running through there. I ran it behind this little panel. I just pull up these and I run it back through here. So it was easy for me to, is if I got a metal wire and I could run that between these little panels right here. So once I pulled all this up, there was a tray down in there that I could run. And then you can run it behind here. And so to explain again, starting from up there, wired it down through this plastic piece through here. I ran it behind this. I popped up through here. Then I will get this subwoofer box put back down and I'll show you the back side of here. And so like I said, I ran the power cable all the way back through here. I popped it out behind and I have it mounted right here, as well as my ground. I ran my ground underneath the little carpet here because there is a little spot. You can see where I kind of poorly ran it through there. And if you didn't miss it, there is a bolt right here. I used some sandpaper and I used that bolt for my ground. So you got your power cable and your ground. That's everything we've touched so far. And so you have a little bit of room for your wires running to your subwoofer underneath there. So underneath here, you got a little bit of a space, so you can run them there. It's super easy. So I'm going to show you how to keep it with the stock head unit because it works fine. The Bose system is fine. Everything works fine. So I'm going to show you guys how I ran my remote wire and also the RCA cables. So if this is the first time you guys are ever wiring up a subwoofer or an amp into your car, you want to make sure you run your power cable on the opposite side of where you're going to run your RCA cables because it can cause interference. So you have like some staticky shit going on. So I'm going to show you how I ran my RCA cables. I use a line out converter. I'll show it on the screen right now. All right, we got a passenger side. We got the seat moved all the way back. So you have a little panel right here, and this little thing just spins off super easy. It's a pain in the ass to get back on though. So that just falls off. There we go. So once you get that panel off there, it's not going to look exactly like this. You're going to have this tape all the way covering this thing. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to dig in there and you're going to have to find two wires. So you get a yellow with a black stripe and a solid yellow. And that's going to be run to your speaker wire right in here. And this is what I did. I had to pull this whole plastic piece all the way out. So this thing will come up all the way and you'll be able to pop this whole thing out. And it was a lot easier to do it instead of try to dig in there and wire everything up. But you will have enough space down in here for your RCA or your line out converter. So once you dig in here, it's going to be a pain in the ass. Wires are going to be super tight, but I got the tap-in wires right here and they run all the way down to my RCA cable. But before you button all this up, you're going to run that RCA output And then you're gonna run your cables all the way through here, run it back over to here, and you can get underneath the little carpet here with a, if you use a wire and you tape the ends of it, you can run it all the way back up into there. So then you can run your RCA cables all the way up in there. So I leave a little bit of room for my power and my negative. But I think the biggest pain in the ass was getting these RCA cables, like the little tap-in wires, because you don't have a lot of room and you got to kind of snap it together and everything. You can cut it and tap into it, but you don't have a lot of room. So like I said, I would just use these. If you can see it, they kind of just tap in there. So they clamp over those. It was such a big pain in the ass. And that was the most time consuming piece. But before you button up everything, all the little trays and everything, make sure everything works. You got power running to it. I'll also show you where I ran my remote wire also. Just a quick run through power cable, driver's side, run through that grommet, back through there. RCA cables, the red and the white, ran from this side all the way down through here, all the way out to the back. And then I'm gonna show you my remote wire. It's gonna be this little guy right here. And so for my remote wire, I could have ran it underneath the carpet. I should have, but so what I did is I popped out this, I think it was the cigarette lighter, or if it was this, but this whole panel right here, this whole thing, if you pull this out, this whole back part pops out, and you can look up the diagram and figure out which one is positive, and you just run the positive, you tap into that, and you run your little baby remote wire to your amp. That's gonna give the signal to turn that amp on. And so before you button everything up, make sure everything's wired, like putting all these plastic pieces back together and everything. Make sure everything works first, and then you can start doing your tuning and everything. But if you guys are watching this and you have any questions, comment down below. I will reply to every comment as much as I possibly can. I'll give you guys a little sound bite. I'll let you try to hear it. It's gonna come through shitty, but honestly, how I had everything set up super clean. I finally, I fine-tuned my amp and everything. So I guess I could cover everything that I have for like a stereo setup in this truck. So I have that box. I have some VS10s, very shallow 10 Skars. I have a 1200 watt amp. I guess they're supposed to pair together with them, but in my my fiance's car that I could show you. So she's got a Jetta GLI, and for some reason, the Jettas and everything and the VWs, like I had a Golf, and it was like this, the audio would cut really, really bad. And so these are what they look like. This is the box that I had in there in her car. And I mean, as you can tell, it's super, super shallow. But for some reason, those audios, like unless you change out the head unit that controls your climate and everything, it just cuts. Like it should sound really good in there, but it just cuts really bad. So we put our 212s back in there, and the box is super heavy. And like it sounds a little bit better, but it is also enclosed. So in here, it's all open. It's kind of like a wagon. So you get a lot more sound and a lot more bass, and like it's not just getting cut off from the back of your back seats and everything. So, but yeah, like I said, I'll link down in the description the VS10s and the 1200 watt amp if you guys want. It's not super expensive compared to like paying, you know, thousands of dollars or something for it, but I heard people talking about how the Bose system is junk and shit, but honestly, it's not bad. So I'll play a little bit of music and then you guys decide. I mean, it's not going to come through very, very well on the camera. I'm sure that sounded just great, but yeah, so I kind of ran through everything really fast, and honestly, out of all the stereos I put together, this one was pretty easy, fairly simple. It's just popping everything out, the little panels, and put them back in, run the wires and everything. But as difficulty goes, I don't know, 6 out of 10, because I had to try to figure out everything myself. I couldn't really find any videos, and I finally found like the wires that run to the speakers and everything. And there's an easier way to do it, but that's the route I chose. But if you guys have any questions, like I said, let me know down in the comments. I'll reply to you as much as I can, or if you have any questions and whatnot. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this video was somewhat helpful if you're looking for some sort of detailed video, I guess. Goodbye. Make sure you subscribe.